Hello and welcome everyone for joining us today. My name is Lindsay and I will be the moderator of this presentation slash webinar slash Q&A. And we're really excited today because we are kind of switching things up a bit and we're doing this webinar a little bit differently. So during this webinar, we actually just wanted to really get into some of your guys' most commonly asked questions and really answer some small business cybersecurity questions and, some trends and kind of some threats you need to look out for 2021. And, being prepared and starting the new year off right. So with that, I'll hand it over to Next I.T and then they can introduce themselves.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks. John Sohaki with Next I.T in Traverse City. And I like the new format. I think it's going to be fun to have more of a roundtable discussion and, looking forward to kicking off 2021 and some more webinars to help our clients and prospects out there in the IT business in West Michigan. Next IT is a managed service provider, if any of you don't know, and we are based out of West Michigan, have offices in Muskegon, Kalamazoo, and Traverse City. And we're different from our competitors because we focus on technology solutions that make business sense. That is our key tagline. And what that really means to you is we're able to help your employees become more productive with reduced risk. Risk is what we're going to talk about today. And I'd like to pass that on and introduce Matt Kern from StorageCraft.
Thanks so much, John. My name is Matt Kern, and I'm an engineer at StorageCraft. And basically what StorageCraft does is provide an entire suite of data protection products, from storage to agentless backups to endpoint backup software. We provide an entire range of software designed to protect you against the, frankly, the bad folks, the bad actors that are out there today. John?
Yeah, and we've been partnered with StorageCraft for many years as our backup solution. All of our clients are receiving the backups and restoration verifications that are so important in your solution, in your security stack. And then throughout the year, we're going to have different partners covering different topics with us. Awesome. Let's get into it, Lindsay.
Sweet. Well, kind of just wanted to start talking about a little bit to kind of touch on what a crazy year 2020 was and how the world and the state of technology just completely did a 360. Suddenly all these businesses were pushed online. All of a sudden, the workforce was made up of almost entirely remote workers. And how those cybersecurity risks that were once in the office started entering the home and started infiltrating people's computers at home. And from what you guys have seen, from what we've seen is cybersecurity for remote workers was never really discussed until this past year. And now it's like, okay, what do these small businesses need to know, and how can they protect the remote employees? So we kind of wanted to discuss some different questions and different, things that we are getting and you guys are seeing from small businesses in terms of, how do I protect my employees? We'll move you guys over here. So what was one of the worst cases of ransomware you guys have ever seen on a client's network, and how did you fix it? So I want to start you off at Next I.T.
Yeah, I've got two examples, and one of them is with a client, and the other one was a prospect, somebody we were talking to. And the first client situation, I'd like to really kind of point out the fact that they were using removable USB devices on their server to back up the information. This is one of the clients that kind of demanded on doing their own backups, even though we talked to them a number of times about letting us manage that for them. They felt comfortable with it, and they had some backup software that they had downloaded and were doing daily backups to their USB drives. And when a ransomware was brought in by a phishing exercise, typically how it happens with a lot of our clients, we've noticed that the ransomware immediately jumped from the server to the USB hard drive because it was a device that was attached right to that server. So it not only infected their server, but infected that USB drive that was on there. Now they had done their diligence, so they thought, and had 2 other copies of USB hard drives, and they would leapfrog them. This is a process of putting a backup on one day, and then the second day, and then taking one off site just in case. The problem is they never tried to do a restore. And when we got an engineer on site to restore their server, the USB drives were unreadable. We actually had to bring those back into our office. The technician took them out of the case and was able to recover some data, but it was 6-month-old data. And that was an unnecessary burden on this client. If we had been doing backup verification and restoration verification for them, we would have been confident that we could have just, restored that file right from that most recent backup, and they would have been off and running. Matt, if you got one, maybe I'll come back with another one if we got time.
Well, I'd kind of like to dovetail off your experience. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, it's all too common. If folks get nothing else out of this quick webinar, I would like them to understand that, number one, you need a team of pros like Next I.T to put up a picket fence, a steel wall around your business. Let's try to keep the bad guys out. But it's been my experience that you simply cannot stop even very smart people from occasionally doing dumb things. Mm-hmm. So after that steel wall is up around your business, from Next I.T security experts, make sure they've got a rock solid backup. And that's what StorageCraft does. We are not really a backup company, we're a restore company. Anyone could say they do a backup. What we specialize is the rest of restoration. Put up the fence, but realize holes are going to be poked through it, and get a good backup for when, in those rare cases, when the bad guys do get in. Thanks, John.
Yeah, that other case I was talking about has kind of led us into a different practice. We were working with a company downstate, and I'm not the direct account manager on this, but did hear a lot of the details. And their ransomware didn't kick off right away. As soon as the hacker got on, he sat quietly for a number of months and was able to get passwords and user IDs. And not only did he infect the server on that account, he infected 6 months worth of backups. So even though their backups were readable, the attacker sat on the account long enough to infect those backups. And what it's really kind of trained us to do is something I've heard of is called a 3-2-1 backup approach. So we're recommending that you back up to a local NAS and keep a copy off site. But now we're also replicating from NAS to NAS at critical client locations. And you can do that on a separate network. The NASs typically have an encryption software. So it's that second NAS now does not become a Windows discoverable device. And I know it sounds real techy, just get with, some of your local experts and we can go through and draw pictures and talk about that. But yeah, it's another level of security that's just going to add that peace of mind that lets you sleep at night.
Right, John. And I think that I don't want to scare anybody off getting too technical. As an engineer, I get accused of that a lot of times. What I think is important here is that no matter how devious or how technically astute the attackers are, Next I.T has that team that's able to basically put up that bulletproof infrastructure for even the worst case. Lindsay?
Sweet. All right. So next question. So this is also relating to not just, the in-person workforce, but now that remote workforce that we were talking about. So what are the most common tricks that hackers use to lure employees into opening attachments? So what should their employers be warning, their remote workers to look out for?
Well, I was recently phished the other day. And I've mentioned this to John before our session here today. I got a Fox News alert basically stating Lions great Barry Sanders has died. And of course, my immediate reaction was to get my hands on the mouse. And just before I clicked, I realized, I don't get Fox News alert.
Right.
The email was really well done. And I think that's what we're talking about when we look at the tricks that hackers are using. It was an emotional tug at my heart. What? Barry Sanders? And that's the type of vector, one of many different vectors that they're using. John?
Yeah, I fell through on my, when I got phished. It was, again, an emotional reaction from me. I had actually gotten an email from an old client that had been hacked. So the hacker got into an old client of ours and went through all of his contact lists, and it sent out an email to me.
Oh, man.
And I clicked through that because I work in a fairly small territory. My clients just aren't clients, they're friends. I run into them at the local grocery store, at the gas station. And every now and then I'll get an actual request from an old client just looking for some information. And so I always kind of go back to that. Luckily, it was only a web link and it didn't download to our network. So I had to diligently go through and change all my passwords, run scans, and we have a nice help desk here at Next I.T. that helps all of our clients and employees with that. So it really only took 15, 20 minutes out of my day to do that. Because if you get hacked, my suggestion first thing is raise your hand. Let somebody know so we can start working on that right away. I also attended another hacker web conference the other day, and they said the top 3 things right now are COVID is certainly one of them. New Microsoft account, right? So somebody will get an email saying you have a new Microsoft 365 account, please verify. And a lot of clients are using 365 today. Seems legit. The logo looks the same. I've seen people click through this and then they ask for a user ID and password and they're like, well, maybe that should give you something to think about before actually entering in your credentials. And the other thing is another, Google account. If you're a company that uses Google Suite and, get a new Google account authorization, those are popular ones. The older ones were UPS and FedEx delivery notices. We've had a busy administrator in office click on one of those. We get packages all the time, probably, legit. They click on it and boom, computer shut down and ransomware. And they give us a call. We say, all right, we're sending our techs over. We'll reload from backup. We're good.
And, as I mentioned at the start of our webinar here today, I'm pretty sure it's not possible to stop even really smart people from occasionally doing dumb things. Mm-hmm. However, Next I.T has an in-depth way of looking at this, even all the way out to training your end users. They've got some unique insights on how to minimize these types of attacks.
Awesome. Cool. One of the ones I've seen coming through my email quite often is the Apple ID scams as well. Like your Apple ID, someone tried to log in, you got to go in and reset your PIN. Type
oh my God, that's a scam?
Yeah. And I was like, from working with Next I.T, I think that's not right. And I see that quite often. I've had friends and family who also say, yeah, that's weird. They also, most of them know that that's kind of weird, know not to open it, but I forewarn them. I'm like, yeah, definitely don't open those ones because no one's trying to, no one needs you to put in your Apple ID pin except a professional. So ignoring those two is very important. So, all right. Next question. So obviously all these cyber attacks still happen, and even, with some human error involved and what have you, but a lot of businesses just don't have any cyber protection in general. Why would you guys say that is, and what have you seen, and what's the top reasoning as to why people just go without cybersecurity protection?
I'm going for a small town. I've heard this way too much and it's finally getting diluted, but people would say obscurity is our security. And that's just not true anymore. Once you're on the network, it's a level playing field. They have access to everything.
True. Yes.
And the other question I ask with businesses is, do you also carry cybersecurity insurance? Because that can help with the expense of restoring after a hack.
Now, John, I think it's important to note that even having that insurance may give some of your customers a false sense of security. Is that true?
Yeah, right. The insurance doesn't protect you from getting hacked. It only pays for the restoration work of your IT team coming in and fixing everything. So no, you've got to have security, and not just an antivirus, right? We've
Absolutely.
got multiple layers of security in our product offering that we apply on all our clients. And Matt brought up a great point. This includes end user training. We do monthly end user training for our clients and show them what to look for. And then we'll throw in some kind of safe phishing exercises to see who's clicked through and who's most likely
very devious of you.
Yeah, and the report shows us and the manager, who opened the email, who clicked into the web page, and actually who offered credentials. And then we just take those employees back to training and say, here's what we've done, and we'd like you to step up your cybersecurity game and be more aware.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And to a lesser extent, I think that I see folks in the small and medium-sized business community going without one or the other. In other words, hey, I'm going to put up that steel fence I mentioned earlier. Hey, I'm going to do great backups. Well, without that entire 360-degree view of your data protection capabilities, and that starts at security and ends with the backups, your business isn't truly secured. And believe me, Next I.T spends a lot of time training all of their techs on the latest tips, tricks, and nasty deeds that the attackers are using to keep them up to speed. And that's basically, at the end of the day, going to allow you to focus in on your business.
Awesome. Sweet. Oh, sometimes the screen moderator jobs. All right. There we go. All right, next question. So what do you think are some of the biggest cybersecurity risks going into 2021? So what's the trend you guys are seeing moving into the new year?
John, Lindsay, I think you kind of touched on it. And it's going to be that focus of attack. The attack vector has always been at the data center, the 95% of it. Now we're going to see that swing back around as more and more remote workers are out there. And that's where we're going to start to see more and more attacks. It takes a nimble team like Next I.T's to be able to quickly adapt to these new realities.
We thought about that coming into this weird pandemic that we're all living in right now. Back in March, we offered to all of our clients, if you are sending employees home to work at home on a work computer, please download our security stack and we'll load it on that work computer. We'll help you set up that protected VPN back to the corporate network, so it gives you that full security stack on what is possibly an insecure home computer. We saw a lot of clients doing this, and those home computers and home routers just don't have those security products like your corporate office environment does, so they're more vulnerable, right? We're also starting to see some interest in cybersecurity risk for 21, though, is mobile devices, right? We all carry these mobile devices, and they're connected to our corporate email accounts. And, I'm starting to see that starting to really become an issue within social media chatter, and haven't gotten too many risks. Certainly get a lot of spam emails, and that's, them looking for holes in the armor to see if they can get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point you bring up too with social media and everything being an online app on someone's phone, how easy it is for people to post links even on social media profiles to say, hey, click this link to win this or to shop this, when that can just easily be disguised as, a commonly like a shopping link or, something people would normally click on. And then it's actually a virus or, and how easily that gets lost and how easily it just blends into someone's news feed, being able to watch out there and keep an eye out for, those things right on your social media feed. So very interesting. So, talk about ransomware attacks and, these businesses that are going without backups, if something happens, how long does it take for them to get back up and running and get back to business?
Yeah, so the one account that I talked about that had their backups infected as well, that we took on, this was an interesting one because it was such a large organization. They called in their insurance people and said, we're going to have to run an insurance claim on this because it's going to cost us X number of dollars to restore our information because it's been a severe hack. And then the insurance company said, hold on, we need to send in a forensic expert to really identify, what happened here to pay out this claim. That ended up delaying that customer, another 10 days, 2 weeks before they were back up and running. And our engineer just said, this is a really good hack. There's a possibility this may be worth the fee that they're asking for to get it down so we can get your business back up and running. Mm-hmm. We always recommend don't contact the hackers because now you're a labeled target and everybody knows that's a good, source. The other one that took 6 months back worth of data, that was the next day for us because our technician was able to get that information up that night and then record it. But then wow. I remember their accounting person saying it took them probably 4 to 6 days to recover that 6-month old information. And then I love statistics off the web, right? I like ZDNet is a pretty good source for technology. And they claim that the average ransomware incident now lasts 16 days. And that was up from 12.1 days in 2019. So that was a 2020 statistic. And this is a nationwide average, 12 to 16 days. Many small businesses really couldn't survive that.
No.
Wow, John, those are some great points. I especially like the hidden costs of insurance, right?
Yeah.
And extra costs in getting paid out. And when I look at ransomware across the US, Canada, et cetera, my gut is days to weeks. For example, say that they were to encrypt a 2 terabyte file server. Well, that could take several days to restore and get back up and running off of older backup media. So I think number one, for such a painful attack that you just described, the team did a great job minimizing it and getting the customer up. And that's why you hire a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and these are just the hard down statistics, right? I read a lot of articles that talk further into what is the damage to your brand, what is the damage to your organization, to your customers, right? Have they lost that trust in you if you don't reply to an email within a week's time because your email has been down because of the hack?
Yeah.
Right.
Other financial organizations, they're required to actually notify all of their clients, and there's a hard cost of sending out all those notifications. Mm-hmm. Our key is attack it in the front end before it happens. And again, training. Let's get your end users up and training.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting point you made about a hacking like that also affecting a company's reputation in terms of, their reliability to their customers. I remember back when, this was a while ago, but when Target got hacked and all the
Yeah.
people who had used like credit cards at Target or, had purchased at Target, all their credit card numbers were on the dark web. And I remember that was a big thing. And everyone really didn't trust Target for, a couple months after that. And we're like, I'm not going to go shop there. They're not secure. My credit card and my debit card number is going to be out there. So, just how that affects, just your profitability and being able to attract new customers as well, because, if people don't trust you, how do you expect to get new business? So,
and I work with some nonprofits here locally in the area, and trust is their 100% of their business. They're relying on donations from their members. And this one had their website hacked, and it turned all their website into, foreign characters instead of English. In Michigan, we're an English speaking country. And, so now their website looks totally foreign, and their board members and, high donors were calling in right away. And luckily they were able to repair it within a matter of hours, and, ensured them that they were doing the diligence to keep everything safe and none of their personal information had gotten out.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah. It's all about trust. And, obviously can trust, Next I.T and StorageCraft. And I wanted to kind of hand it off to you guys to talk about, after we answer all these questions, how you can help the small business owner today.
Yeah, I think we've thrown a lot of technical jargon. My apologies to the business owners out there. But, I think the next logical question you're probably asking is, where do I start? And boy, I sure hope it isn't expensive. Well, I think we've got something here for you. Mm-hmm. John?
Yeah. Contact, you've got a link here, info.nextit.net. You've been hacked. Send us some information and we will reach out to you and get you signed up for this free data recovery analysis. We can also do a security analysis on your network and show any open holes there, but we'll give you a plain in English, person-to-person, whether it's over video chat or if you're taking in-person meetings with social distancing. We're happy to come out and explain all this to you in plain English that makes sense to you and tell you why it's important. 1, back up your data, secure your environment, and train your end users to get through this and have a happy 2021.
Yeah, start 2021 off better than 2020. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks guys. And what we're going to do too is we'll make this link available on all our social media accounts. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll be posting this in the description. And if you're watching this on Facebook, we'll also be posting that on Facebook and sticking this link in the event as well. But yeah, we hope you guys have an awesome day and thank you for tuning in. Thanks.
Thanks, Lindsay at ThrivePop, our favorite social media and web company. Thanks, Matt at StorageCraft. Love working with you guys and looking forward to a great year.
Awesome.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye now.
Yes. Bye.